Good evening and welcome to this edition of News Leader on 6. Today is Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. I'm Andrew Todd. In tonight's news, Coffee County COVID testing has moved to Tullahoma. The Tullahoma Wildcats are 6-0, and a new alderman was sworn in during last night's Tullahoma City Board meeting. We'll have all these stories and more on tonight's News Leader on 6.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Here at Stan McNabb Collision Center, we work with all major insurance companies, and we get the job done right the first time, on time.
Well, I grew up in Tullahoma. We'd always done business with Stan McNabb, so when we needed collision service after a run-in with a deer, we knew to call those guys. We already had trust with them. We called Cody. He took great care of us. He kept us posted every step of the way, and we couldn't have been more pleased.
Getting your vehicle back to pre-loss condition shouldn't be a headache. So in the event of an accident, contact me, Cody Hall, at Stan McNabb Collision Center.
Welcome back. The Tennessee Department of Health announced that those needing to get tested for COVID-19 in Coffee County will need to travel to Tullahoma to do so starting this past Friday, September 25th. The new location for Coffee County COVID-19 testing will be Wagner Park, 1208 East Carroll Street, at the pavilion closest to the Industrial Boulevard. Testing was previously happening at the location of the Old Southern Family Market grocery store in Manchester along Hillsborough Highway. Testing is available at the new location at no cost to participants per the announcement. Residents with health concerns or someone who has concerns about the health of a family member is invited to come to receive testing for COVID-19. Those who come for testing will not need to leave their vehicles to get the testing done, the health authorities said. On September 26th at approximately 6:30 p.m., Coffee County jail staff was made aware of an inmate in medical distress, officials said. The inmate was Tullahoma resident Gunnar Ripke, a 27-year-old white male. Ripke was found to be unresponsive and CPR was performed by correctional and medical staff on hand. Coffee County Sheriff's Department officials said in a press release, quote, the inmate was transported to Unity Medical Center where further medical treatment was provided. The inmate was pronounced dead and the family notified. The district attorney was notified and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation will be investigating to determine the cause of death. We'll update you on this story as it continues to develop. And we'll be right back with more news after these messages.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
I'm Philip Bourne, Stan McNabb Detail Shop Manager. Here are a few things our customers have to say about our service.
What I love most about the Stan McNabb Detail Shop is there's someone local that I can trust to pick up my car, have it cleaned, and deliver it back to me in showroom condition.
What really amazed me is when he opened the hood and looked like he had taken the old engine out and put a new engine inside.
We have several different packages and individual services to get your vehicle looking like new again. We're located just behind Stan McNabb Chevrolet dealership. Call today, schedule an appointment, and see what a difference our detail can make.
Welcome back. The Tullahoma Wildcats improved to 6-0 after the Wildcats put up 49 points while holding Lincoln County to 0 at halftime last Friday night. The game finished with the Wildcats at 56 and Lincoln County at 13. And Coach Olive mentioned nearly every player who dressed out for the game got to play. Here's Jim Fuller and John Olive discussing the win.
Well, it was a very good performance by our young men. Made a few mistakes, but not a whole lot. We were more athletic than the Lincoln County team. We're bigger than the Lincoln County team. And you knew going into the ball game that how we played would control the outcome of the game more so than Lincoln County controlling the outcome of the game. And from the get-go, our players played well, and I don't know, I think we scored every time we got our hands on the ball in the first half, and sometime in the second quarter when they picked up their first down. So it was a dominating performance for the Wildcats. This football team is a good football team, and it has a chance to become a special football team.
You got to be feeling good when you're up 49-0 at halftime, because I don't ever remember you guys being up 49-0.
I can't remember being up 49-0. I can remember being up by significant amounts, where we would talk at halftime and tell the starters, you got one series. Start the third quarter, that's it, you're done, regardless of what happens, you're done. And this time, we did tell the defense we were going to start the defense because we were kicking off from our own 25-yard line. We thought they might have it in pretty good field position, felt like we needed to make sure that we set the tempo for the second half. But we told our first team offense that they were done. That second team offense, that's who we talked with during halftime, going over stuff with them. That's it. And that's the first time in my coaching career that I've ever told a starting bunch that they're already done for the night.
But that's got to be really encouraging for the younger guys, or the guys that don't get on the field all the time.
I hope so. I hope they got to go out and have fun last night, because that's what you want to do, is have fun while you play.
Right. But your second team quarterback looks like he's pretty well capable.
DJ is very capable and does well. He starts for us on the defense, and so we feel very comfortable with DJ if it comes time for him to play. There were a couple of times there when we were in those lean years that we got thumped pretty good.
You know, I have to say you guys deserve this, John, because you had some tough years there where you lost 10 games in 2 seasons, or a year.
It changes your perspective, because you know what they are going through as well.
Sure.
Now they've won games. They've won 3 games this year. They're 3-3 after last night. But when things are just going bad for you, that no matter what you're trying to do, as you stick your fingers into the holes in the dike, they just keep springing more and more holes. And
right.
So anyway, I'm sure that Coach Rose, who's a new coach there at Lincoln County, that he and his staff, they'll get things turned around, and I'm not talking about maybe this year or whatever, but they just look like a young football team to us when we were preparing for them.
The Tullahoma chapter of Daughters of the American Revolution met September 18th to celebrate Constitution Week and to honor one of their own. After Mayor Ray Noaes gave out a special proclamation in commemoration of Constitution Week, DAR Regent Emily Thoma said she received an envelope from the Tennessee Society DAR informing her that one of her members won an award out of the 6,000 members in the state. Thoma presented Dot Watson the Member Contest for Literacy. Thoma added Watson also helped the chapter win awards, including Most Hours Served by Adults for Literacy Promotion, Most Books Donated to Little Libraries, and recognition for building new little libraries. After receiving the awards, Watson took a moment to talk about the bell used for Constitution Day. Watson told the story of how she and her husband Tom lived in Norfolk, Virginia, while he was stationed there in the Navy. One night during dinner, a friend of her husband's came to them and requested they come with him because he wanted to show them something. At the front of the administrative building at the Naval Station Norfolk, the friend presented them the bell, and Watson said her husband didn't understand the significance at first. When they got closer to the bell, they saw it was from the ship USS Tullahoma. According to Watson, the ship was commissioned to be built during the Civil War, but it was never finished as the war ended. Watson credited the local DAR at the time and the Regent for assisting her brother. Watson said, quote, "Finally, we were able to bring the bell to Tullahoma," end quote. But she made clear that the bell was not given to them and it is only on loan, and the city must file a report every year about how the bell has been used, its condition, and so on. She said she's happy that the bell is in town and finished her story by stating the man who found it first, Alan Walker, and his wife were presented a key to the city at the time for finding the bell. And after these messages, we'll be right back.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. Get to Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
All right, the cat's out of the bag at Carroll Street Liquor in Tullahoma. Now you know where to go if you're planning a get-together and want the ideal wine or spirit. Party planning can be stressful, but at Carroll Street Liquor you'll find everything you need. Mixers, gift sets, and all of your favorite spirit brands. So if you're feeling the pressure to pull off the ideal party, come to Carroll Street Liquor and select among the seemingly endless supply of wines, spirits, gift sets, and more. Your perfect party, it's in the bag with Carroll Street Liquors.
Welcome back. At yesterday's Tullahoma City Board meeting, our newest alderman, Cernobia McGee, was sworn in.
At this time, we have one of the most important things we're going to be doing this evening. We're going to have a swearing-in ceremony for our newest alderman. So, Judge Conley, would you ask Ms. Cernobia McGee to come forward and be sworn in as our newest alderman?
If you would, young lady, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Cernobia McGee.
I, Cernobia McGee.
Alderman for the City of Tullahoma.
Alderman for the City of Tullahoma.
Do affirm.
Do affirm.
That I will faithfully.
That I will faithfully.
Truly.
Truly.
And impartially.
And impartially.
Perform the duties.
Perform the duties.
Of said office.
Of said office.
During my tenure.
During my tenure.
Without fear.
Without fear.
Favor.
Favor.
Or partiality.
Or partiality.
To the best of my skill.
To the best of my skill.
And ability.
And ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If you would.
Also at the board meeting, Mayor Noes honored the Tullahoma Fire Department with a proclamation of Fire Week.
So this is Fire Prevention Week proclamation. We're glad to have our chief here tonight. So whereas the City of Tullahoma and the Tullahoma Fire Department is committed to ensuring safety and security of those living and visiting Tullahoma, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are in greatest risk from fire. Whereas home fires killed more than 2,630 people in the United States in 2017, according to the National Fire Protection Association. And the fire departments in the United States responded to 357,000 home fires. That's a bunch. Whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires in the United States, and whereas fire departments responded to more than 173,000 annually between 2013 and 2017, and whereas 2 of every 5 house fires start in the kitchen, and with 31% of these fires resulting from unattended cooking. So whereas children under the age of 5 are at higher risk of non-fire burns associated with cooking than being burned in a cooking fire. And whereas Tullahoma residents should stay in the kitchen when frying foods on the stovetop and keeping 3-foot kid-free zone around the cooking area, and keeping anything that can catch fire away from the stovetops. And whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fires in half. And whereas Tullahoma's fire department and first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through the protection and prevention education, and whereas Tullahoma's residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take personal steps to ensure their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2020 Fire Prevention Week theme, Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen. That's Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen. Effectively serves to remind us to stay alert and use caution when cooking to reduce the fire in our kitchens. So therefore, now I, Ray Norris, Mayor of the City of Tullahoma, do hereby proclaim October the 4th through 10, 2020 as Fire Prevention Week in Tullahoma. And I urge all citizens of Tullahoma by checking their kitchens for fire hazards and using safe cooking practices during Fire Prevention Week 2020, and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of the Tullahoma Fire Department and Emergency Services. Chief Buchanan Fire would like to present this to you, sir. Chief, you're welcome to make some remarks.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor and Board, for recognizing this important time of the year. However, I will tell you that the Tullahoma Fire Department practices Fire Prevention Week all year long. We're always doing programs, installing smoke alarms, doing training, and we just appreciate the continued support of the board. And you know what the smoke alarm sound, what that sounds like, you know what that means. At my house, that means that supper's ready. But, you know, we also, is this is known, is it? Anyway, be real careful cooking. That's where the fires are happening now. It used to be that smoking was the #1 cause of house fires, but thank goodness that's gone away, but something else has risen to the top now, and it's cooking. So just be extra careful, and if you have any questions, just feel free to call the fire department. Our community risk lady, Miss Melissa Allen, will be glad to help you any way she can.
Thank you, Chief, and congratulations on doing a great job for our community.
Thank you, Mayor.
Centerstone, a national leader in behavioral health care based in Nashville, is partnering with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services to provide COVID-19 relief in Coffee County and 20 other counties across the state. Known as the Tennessee Recovery Project and funded by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the effort allows Centerstone to offer free resource connection and short-term supportive counseling to those whose mental health has been impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. According to the Tennessee Department of Health, the state has registered 193,732 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and more than 2,389 deaths. Many counties have seen an increase in cases recently. Sherry Randall, Centerstone Director of Crisis Services, said, quote, "Our team is here to provide practical and emotional support that will help lessen the long-term negative effects of COVID-19 with an emphasis on emotional well-being. We are promoting resiliency and recovery for Tennesseans, educating individuals and leaders on ways to cope and connect with local services as we get through this pandemic together," end quote. Centerstone said they want people to know that it's okay not to feel okay right now, and help is available. And thanks to this grant, the department and our community providers, including Centerstone, will be able to help more people. For more information about Centerstone's work providing COVID-19 relief via the Tennessee Recovery Project, please call 1-888-460-4531 Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon. And we'll be right back after these messages.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
Many Tennesseans are wondering, do masks really fight the spread of COVID-19? A recent study shows they do. 2 hairstylists worked for several days with respiratory symptoms and serviced patrons in close contact. Both stylists later tested positive for COVID-19. 139 clients were exposed to coronavirus after being in direct contact. Both stylists and their customers opted to wear masks. No COVID-19 symptoms were identified among the 139 exposed clients or their secondary contacts. Out of the clients that were tested, all tested negative for COVID-19. Face it, masks fight COVID-19.
Welcome back. Jim Fuller and Coach Olive spoke about how this year's football team is not only a good team, but also a special team.
We were talking a moment ago that in the past there's been a lot of times where the Wildcats were outmanned because people were a lot bigger than Tullahoma. But this time, 2 big offensive linemen that go over 300 pounds, and all of them got good size.
Well, all of them are good size, and they're all good football players. We'll give them some due here. Logan Crouch is a junior left tackle, and he's one of those that's 6'5" and just over 300 pounds. And the guy who lines up next to him at guard is Ian Poe, and Ian Poe is 6'4" and just over 300 pounds. The center is JT Taylor. JT's not quite as big, but he's just as strong. And JT's probably 6'1", and he's in the 260 range. And then right guard is the only senior, Tydrell Mitchell. Tydrell's not very tall, but he's a good 270 pounds, and he's leg-wise is the strongest one of the bunch, as he can squat the house. And then at right tackle, we started another junior, Caden Bradford, and Caden is 6'4", and he's probably about 240, 245. And anyway, the 5 of them are playing outstanding. As we talked earlier, Caden's the only one that starts both ways at both offense and defense, the rest of them. And in our previous games, we've played well in the second half, and I think a lot of that has to do with we have players that are not having to play both ways.
Mm-hmm. And strength has been something you guys have been focusing on for the last several years.
It has.
Training, that's paying off now.
Coy Sis and Whitney Morris are the strength coaches for our school system at the high school. Larry Campbell comes in and works with football, and has worked with some of the other sports as well, but he primarily works around his regular job and comes in, and Larry and Coy have made a big difference. It's nice to have bodies that can get strong, that we already had some size to us and so forth, but this is overall the strongest football team that we've had in my 28 years here, and I guess it's probably the biggest as well.
John of course, played football in high school and college, and probably back in those days your linemen were about 200 or 220, and you were back, and what'd you weigh?
I was a little bitty guy. I mean, I struggled. I remember I got up to 165 pounds for about 3 days of the preseason, and then dropped back into the 150s.
Right.
So anyway, and but the game's changed, but it hadn't changed a whole lot. There's still a lot of 140 and 50 pounders out there playing the game. Mm-hmm. They just don't. You stay away from those big linemen. I'm telling you, I watched practice the other day, and I'm sitting there watching Ian Poe wrap around the center coming up on a linebacker, and I thought, that's a scary looking thing.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be that linebacker that's playing at 170 pounds waiting on him.
Right. Thomas is probably one of the big stars on the team, and I think he's a senior, but he also plays on defense. Does he play all the time on defense?
Not all the time, and that's because we've had some others step up on the defensive side of the ball. That there's 2 players that are skill players that started various times last year for us on the defensive side of the ball. and Jacoby's one, and Jacob Dixon is the other. And we're not having to play those two guys on the defensive side of the ball. Do they play? Some. But they don't have to play because others have stepped forward and have played really, really well. And so that's allowed us to go back to only having to play one way and back up on the other side of the ball. And so anyway, that's been a luxury for us. So far, we've been very fortunate with injuries and with the virus. So hopefully we can keep that luxury going.
And don't forget to tune in to this week's Living Show tonight at 6:30 p.m., Thursday morning at 9 a.m., and Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings at 6:30 p.m. This week's guests include Susan Johnson from the Isaiah 117 House, who are planning a golf tournament fundraiser. We'll speak with Tullahoma High School's Homecoming Court, and we'll also speak with Mary Ann Christian from the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network. All that and more on this week's Living. And stay with us, we'll have your weather forecast right after these messages.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
We're losing it, Doctor.
Not on my shift. Quickly, brush. Roller.
What a transformation. It's going to be okay.
Okay, nothing.
At Paintworks of Tullahoma, we specialize in domestic emergencies with Martin Senior Paints. You can be the paint doctor, too, when you treat your home with Martin Senior interior and exterior finishes.
Doctor, we've got another one.
Got you covered.
Paintworks of Tullahoma. Come see the paint doctor, Stat.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on this date. Our record high was in 2019 at 93 degrees. Record low was in 1942 at 35 degrees. The average high for this day is 77 and the average low is 53. Mostly clear for tonight with a low of 44. Sunny on Wednesday with a high of 72 and a low of 50, and mostly sunny on Thursday with a high of 70 and a low of 43. And that's our News Leader report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evening at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. for News Leader on 6. Stay safe and have a great evening.